In 2023, Mass Audubon accepted a gift of 185 acres in land in Holliston from Jim and Pat Poitras. This will form the base of a new wildlife sanctuary called Broad Hill. The land connects multiple pieces of conservation land totaling nearly 1,000 acres, which is a great accomplishment in the Metro West suburban landscape. We're here at Broad Hill on Highland Street to get a preview of this addition to open space in Holliston.
So as we leave the parking area here, we'll have a sign to orient people to the trail in this location, and then we're going to move toward the field. So just about 30 acres of field here. The trail's going to come around this way. So this is the spot that we envision as the gathering place, because you have views of the fields. You're just beginning to enter the woods. We haven't decided what design to use yet, but we'll probably have some sort of small platform with a major trail sign here so people can say, let's meet at Broad Hill. I'll meet you at the gathering place, away from Highland Street and just beginning to enter the property. And the plan is to develop a small parking lot, improve the trails, and build a small bridge over a stream and create a nature trail that's about 1.4 miles long. We're aiming for an opening to the public in late 2025. So we've got a lot of work to do, but it's exciting and fun to do. So we're happy that you came out to see what we have in mind.
Great. Well, we're looking forward to getting down into the
Good.
swale, as you call it.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you tell us
Shall we?
what is a swale exactly?
It's a depression. Anything can be a swale, any depression. This particular depression is formed by a stream. So all this land is largely formed by glacial activity over multiple millennia, but primarily 10,000 to 12,000 years ago. When the last glacier retreated, it carved out lots of swales, and within those carvings, streams flowed. So we have a small stream that flows in the swale today. We'll go try to get down and see it. And it forms a magical place because it takes you down below Highland Street. You can hear the sounds of Highland Street now. Once we get over that hillside, you won't hear Highland. You won't see any suburban homes. You won't hear any leaf blowers. You'll be in a place that is pretty special in Greater Boston in these days. So the stream itself forms that and continues to carve out, to some extent, that swale. It's also a place that native wildflowers, shrubs, trees thrive, and you'll see some of the diversity that lives in that area.
Great. Let's go.
Do you want to hit?
Let's
down?
go.
We follow the blue flagging. So now we have entered a special place. We've come away from the field, and as you can see, the land drops down very steeply, and at the very bottom, I think you'll be surprised by what we see.
Okay.
Our trail pattern is designed to take people to different viewpoints and different things to see and experience, so it's not a straight line. It'll turn and twist as we make our way down toward the stream. That's also for drainage. You want water to go down slope and not carve out your trail. So ultimately, we'll have 3-foot wide walking paths that will be designed for safety and comfort, and where people can just experience this beautiful nature. If you want a trail that takes you into nature and gives you a chance to see lots of different aspects. It takes time to plan it, create it, and change it. So over the past year, we've laid out the trail. We've had different people. We've had scientists. We've had people who are educators, people with different ways of seeing come and say, well, what if we moved it a little here? What if we moved it here? So this is the product of many people looking at this land and saying, this would be the way an ideal trail would go. So I think it's better for all the people that have weighed in on it. Jim Poitras, the donor, walked it with us a couple of months ago, and he knows this land very well. He seemed very pleased with where the trail has gone.
Oh, that's
so
great.
we're very gratified that he likes it. So, yeah, so you may wonder why it's twisting and turning, but there are reasons for it. And once the trail is, right now you're watching your feet, as you should, but when the trail's in and functioning properly, you won't be looking at it. You'll be looking at nature instead. So it'll draw you to different trees. Right now we're in a white pine grove, and that's a beautiful place to be any time of year. But we're about to go into some different forest habitats with different trees. We're gonna, move the leaves. We're gonna cut away the slope here a little bit, all with hand tools, and level it out so that we're not standing on a slope as we are now, so we can comfortably walk it. It's called a bench cut, and that it's going to be a lot of hand work in this area. But once that's done, you'll be able to walk very comfortably on a grade that isn't quite level because we want it to drain, but it'll be almost level compared to what it is now. Just stand for a second and think about where you are. You're in suburban Boston. You're right off Highland Street. There are lots of housing developments right over that ridge and this ridge. But listen. Notice how quiet it is? That is one of the really spectacular parts of this small property. It is away from all the sounds. And once we've got the trail developed and it's accessible, I think people will come here for that. That'll be part of it. Exploring is part of it, learning, just seeing what happens every day as you come, it changes. But coming for the solitude and the peace and beauty of nature is going to be a big part of it. So let's head down. The trail goes this way and then gradually brings you down to the stream itself. And this is fascinating. It's a rock fall, but whether it is man-made or glacial is uncertain. So there are lots of mysteries we haven't just unraveled yet. And it's going to be fun to learn more about the geology, the glacial history, the human history. We have some of that recent in history, but lots of ways to explore the past uses of this land and what lived here. So, but this is just a beautiful rock fall in any season. So our plan is to run a small bridge at the narrowest part of this. This is a seasonal stream, so nothing's happening right now, but it's called intermittent, and we're designing a small bridge about 36 feet that'll go across. And this area will do minimum damage to the wetland, so we tried to minimize the location so that the crossing will keep the wetland intact. So where that flagging is located is where the bridge is going.
Oh yeah, the orange street, the orange. Yeah.
And we'll be talking with the Conservation Commission about the details very soon. And remarkably, this will be quite a flowing stream again in the spring. Doesn't look like there's anything there at all right now. There is skunk cabbage starting to come up, and then once you get across, the blue flags show you the route that will take you up to the inner field. Just follow the blue flags and they go up that side gently as we came down. And then where it starts to get light up in the distance, it'll bring you out into a 10-acre open field. And from there you get views that go out to the east. I'm told at one point you could see almost to Boston from there. With the trees now you can't, but it's a spectacular viewpoint and very different than this side of the stream. And then the trail up there will then loop back and come on the east side of the stream and back via the same bridge. So you'll end up with a 1.4 mile loop trail that'll bring you through a lot of different types of forest and field.
Elisa, tell us a little bit about the history of the land and how this parcel was put together by the Poitresses.
Yeah. So this is quite a remarkable story. This is the story of Broad Hill. It was originally, part of it was originally purchased by Jim Poitress's father in the 1940s. Jim grew up here, and when he married Pat, decades later, they moved into the family homestead and then intentionally added to the land over decades. Their intention was to create a large property of open space for wildlife and for people that connected people to nature and connected to surrounding conservation lands. So over time, they assembled over 200 acres. And in 2023, they decided to entrust the ownership to Mass Audubon. So they gave us 185 acres of land here in Holliston, and we're forever grateful, because the real value of this land is it is a keystone in over 1,000 acres of connected land.
And that's part of the Mass Audubon strategy, right? To have a keystone where everyone can, all these are connected.
Absolutely.
And how far does it go towards the east here? It goes...
So to the east, there are views that are almost to Boston, not ownership, but views.
Yeah.
It connects to Warren Woods in the north, and then to Framingham State Property, Ashland State Park, around to the YMCA Outdoor Center, and then down to our Waseca Wildlife Sanctuary. To the south, it connects to the Poitras Conservation Land, and eventually to the rail trail. So this forms a fantastic wildlife corridor, and eventually will be a pathway that people can use as well.
How will it be enjoyed and accessed?
Well, it can be accessed, it will be accessed in 2025 by a new parking lot right here off Highland Street. People can enjoy it for nature walks, to take educational programs, to go bird watching, to take pictures, bring their small children and their older children. Long term, we would love to have a stewardship program where people volunteer to maintain the trails and help us, staff members, maintain the property. So there are many ways it can be enjoyed, and we're looking forward to welcoming the public in 2025.
Perfect. Anne Marie, how does this fit into the Conservation Commission and the open space missions in Holliston?
Sure. I hope you don't mind if I take a look at a few notes,
Please
because
do.
I needed to remind myself of, it's good to remind yourself now and then about what goals you've set. And our most recent open space and recreation plan, which is something that the town does on a regular basis and is now in need, a little bit overdue in getting an update, but the most recent one had 7 major goals, and I think that Broad Hill Sanctuary checks the boxes of pretty much every one of them. The first is protect and enhance the quality of Holliston's surface and groundwater. So we have some surface water here that, you know, having all this undeveloped land around it helps to protect it. This kind of land helps to recharge the groundwater and protects it in terms of pollution as well. So a second one is provide and maintain conservation land that protects Holliston's natural resources. And Elisa already talked about how actually Mass Audubon helped us, has been partnering with us, the town, for almost 20 years in creating that wildlife corridor we were talking about. They helped us with the Mellon Street property and with the Warren Woods, which both abut this property. So that wildlife corridor is really quite important for one of the natural resources. And Elisa also talked previously when we were down in the swale about biodiversity, which is another important thing. Increase and improve active and passive recreational opportunities to meet the diverse needs of all citizens. Well, this trail is going to be a lovely recreational opportunity for residents, passive recreation.
Right.
Yeah. As opposed to the ball fields or something like that.
Sure.
Trails are great. Lots of people in town are just always looking for trails. During the pandemic, it was like a lifesaver for many people. Yeah. Increase environmental awareness and promote appreciation of natural features and resources among all sectors of the Holliston community. So there's going to be lots of opportunity for education here. Learning that nature trail is an educational opportunity in and of itself, and I know Mass Audubon is known for its educational programs. I happen to help with those back in the day. So
you may be holding programs here that people can sign up and learn.
Eventually.
Yep.
Yeah. Provide a system of trails. Again, that kind of is a little bit redundant of what we were talking about before, but the trails hopefully eventually making some connections with the wildlife corridor to be a people corridor as well, but not in the exact same places. Doing it very thoughtfully to protect the biodiversity and conservation values of the land. And finally, protect Holliston's community character with a focus on agriculture, scenic, and historic landscapes and areas. And this landscape along Highland Street is, you know, obviously really important to the community. It's beautiful, the beautiful fields and all that. So as I said, it kind of checks all the boxes. And when we do the update of our open space and recreational plan, we're likely to be including some more things about climate mitigation. And so again, the biodiversity and lands like this are capturing carbon and they are storing carbon. So all those are important things. Yeah.
You've answered a lot of the questions, but if I'm a resident of Holliston, give me a direct way that this will benefit me and my family.
Well, just a place to get out and be in, as Elisa had mentioned before that, to be in nature, go to a peaceful sanctuary, to get some exercise, all these things, and all those things that I was talking about, water protection, climate mitigation, those are all benefiting
our citizens and community. Yeah. Great.
And we hope people will simply fall in love with nature here. And then recognize there are other places in Holliston and beyond that deserve to be protected and valued and stewarded. So we hope this will be a model that will expand people's love and caring for nature.
I think it's going to be a great success. Thank you so much for the tour in the woods and for giving us this nice preview of what's to come.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And I did want to also mention one other thing is that in terms of the Conservation Commission, we're sort of the town's environmental agency, and so part of our charge is to protect the natural resources of the town, and the other is to to administer the state and the local Wetlands Protection Act and bylaw. And so, as Elisa mentioned, we're going to be, that bridge will come before us so that we make sure that they're, as we expect, Mass Audubon will be doing it in a way that does not impact the wetlands. But also, I just thought I'd throw that out there that citizens should know that, I don't know if, that any wetlands and buffer zones, which are the 100 feet from wetlands and 200 feet from permanent streams, are under the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission, and you need to come to us when you want to do any kind of activity there. There are certainly things that can be permitted, but we just want to do it in a careful way.
From Broad Hill, this is Chryso Lawless for Heartbeat of Holliston.